My name is Daskies, and I'm going to be showing you guys 10 Evil Dead the Game survivor tips that are going to help you change your gameplay from losing to winning. Let's go. The first thing I want to do is debunk the whole if you fall from high, the demon's able to hear you, it makes noise. That is not true. You will not set off any alarm. He will not find you if you fall from high. Also, any shooting you do with the bow will alert the demon. He will know exactly where you are. Actually, any sort of shooting will do this. This includes also the buzzsaw. The buzzsaw will also alert the demon as to where you are. So be careful what you're shooting, how you're shooting. Driving the car, like always, I don't know if you know this, but if you get into a car, he knows where you are. He knows exactly where you are on the map, and he's able to pinpoint and just start flying directly at your location. Don't hop in a car, especially early game. If he finds you, start using the car. Another thing that you have to gauge is your fear meter. If you pop on your fear meter and essentially become terrified, he also has the same thing as before, a direct location as to where you are, and if you're close to your team, he basically found you all. Another thing that happens is a lot of games are lost before they even start. What you want to do is you want to make sure you have a team that synergizes well and characters that work well together. I'm going to give you a few examples of what this is and how it works. Here's an example of a hunter build. This is my favorite one because of the characters and whatnot and their special abilities, but essentially you could choose any two other hunters as long as you have a 1-0-2-1 build. If you build like that, you should be fine. You're going to have the most damage output for a hunter build, and you're going to be able to do the most with these. If you want, you could pause the video so you can understand and put your abilities in accordance with what I've written on screen. Here's another example of a warrior build I really like. This is just a 1-2-0-1 build. You just avoid using the hunters completely and you just double down on damage from melee. You could also pause this and be able to see what abilities you need to go for and why it makes sense. If you start adding up all the percentages, you start doing some crazy damage with some really good weapons. Because a lot of people are not used to doubling down on warrior or hunter, I put a build that pretty much fits everything. Well, it's not really a build, it's just play Ash. If you play Ash, he fits every single archetype, every single character, and it's kind of the way to avoid the whole you're not synergizing with me argument. Easiest thing to do is pick that and play that. That's a fix for everyone. Too many times I've seen that people don't understand that if they hop over a ledge, the demons can't follow. They don't have the vault ability that a human survivor does. And essentially, this allows you to have an outplay mechanic to when they possess something, either through windows or through railings. You could be able to waste his time and waste his energy and help your team by just totally outplaying him over the ledge and vaulting. One of the most important things you need to do when playing this game is you need to let your teammates know what you're looking for. If you're a melee build and you need to have heavy mallets and whatnot, you need to let them know, otherwise they're going to hold on to the loot for themselves when you might be able to do better with it. So communication and letting each other know about loot items that synergize with your character is key to be able to get victories. If you don't let them know, they might hold on to a golden hammer, and Henry would definitely be better with a hammer rather than support Ash. So keep that in mind. One thing to keep in mind is looting and inventory management. What I mean by this is when you're in a building and you're picking up ammo, usually the automatic pickup is for the weapon you have. But if you walk past other ammo, it just sits there and it wastes away. What I advise people to do is to pick up everything they walk by. Like that, you'll be able to share with the teammates. If a teammate's using a pistol, you'll be able to give him pistol ammo because you've been picking it up from the beginning. If you guys are looting the same building and he's not picking it up, tell him, I have your pistol ammo if you need it. Here, I'll give it to you, right? If you don't communicate, that's when you throw. And if you're throwing, that's on you. Know your enemy type. These type of enemies with Ash are more susceptible to shooting, but if you melee them, you can hit them for 20 days and no damage goes through. Obviously, this is a possession that's happening here, and it takes a few more hits than regularly, but look how many hits I have to do just to be able to get through that shield to finally start doing damage. If he dropped a bunch of units on me, I'd be in big trouble. This also happens with the elite unit. The only way to really play around it is to shoot and go for headshots. Essentially, hunters synergize really well against evil Ash, the necromancer. But when he spawns in, it makes no difference. The damage is pretty much scaled equally between the two. The only thing you could really play for is the stagger, and at that point, you'd have to have a stagger build. Another thing you want to keep in mind is that Elagos' puppet is hardcore countered by melee, but if you shoot him, it does nothing for his stagger meter. Look, one character was able to put him into stagger, and essentially you could just unload damage, and as long as your team is working all together, you could do a lot, but if you shoot him, he absorbs most of the shots, and if they have a build to counter this, you're in big trouble. The reason why I only talked about the elite unit and not Elagos as a boss and the regular units is because they get pretty much damaged evenly from both sides. Yes, you could play into stagger, but that's more of a build for bosses and whatnot, and it has nothing to do with what really counters and what doesn't counter. You just got to play into your builds versus those type of characters. Henrietta is a little different. She does not have a specific thing that counters her. There is no build. There is no specific item. It's just pure damage. You need to do as much damage as possible and put her down as fast as possible. This is also the same situation for all of the other units that she has as the elite and normal units. Just damage. You need to just out damage the amount of health they have and put them down as fast as possible. Here's a tip that I do to help my team out when I play. I usually, on the pages, the dagger, and on the final book, what I'll do is I'll throw down any support items I have. This provides an ability for my teammates to have access to them. And I tell them, look, if you need the soda, go grab it. If you need an amulet, go grab it. It's there. The items have been put down on the ground. And this might be a good practice for everyone to adopt because it would allow us to be able to better share the items between teammates. Now, before people in the comment section start saying, yeah, but why wouldn't you just give it all to your support characters? Here's the reason. Sometimes your support character is full on health. And if he uses the item, he's basically going to spread it across the whole group, but would be wasting it on themselves. There's instances where it's better for someone else to use the item, and people can gauge and play around it in accordance to what's happening around them. So I don't want to say indefinite, yes, you should always give it to your support, but there's moments in time where the support would be better off sharing the items rather than keeping it and using it on themselves. Avoid dumb damage. This is a big one because a lot of people don't know when to dodge or miss their dodge and take dumb damage straight to the mouth, and this is completely and 100% avoidable. That's why I call it dumb damage. Another place to take dumb damage is versus the elites from the Puppeteer. They have such a long engage on their electricity, and it takes so much proc time that you are so ready by the time it finally does come out to avoid it. You could even run out of it sometimes and totally avoid it completely, so keep that in mind. There's ways around it, and you can play around it. Use your flashlight. If you don't use your flashlight, you are wasting your time when you're looting. There's so many moments where I've found Shem's Colas, amulets, ammo, just from a light being turned on. And if you don't have it on, it's a waste. And I see a lot of people running around with no light and whatnot. Turn it on. You'll be saving yourself the time and everybody else the time, and it will just be better for everyone. Last but not least, the most important tip I could give anybody in this game is to ping their chests. The reason being is that each chest gives pink F. This pink F levels up your characters. The more levels you get on your character, the more damage you do, the more damage you could take. It's just ultimately the best thing you could do for scaling on each match you play. That was 10 Evil Dead the Game Survivor tips. I hope these help you out. If you want, you could hop into one of my Discords, or you could be able to hop into my stream on Twitch. We could definitely answer any questions you have. We could play together, whatever y'all want, okay? I hope you guys have a great day. All the best, never change. You beautiful bastards.